Hi folks, how are you all doing today? So today we are discussing about local variables, global variables, along with scope of those variables. Okay, so these are very important concepts while it is regarding variables, right? So this is like absolutely important for you all to understand what are local variables and what are global variables, right? Along with that, how far they work, right? That means what is the scope of that variable, right? So every variable which you create will have certain limit, right? So that means the scope of it, the visibility of it, the or we can say the accessibility of that. So changes, okay? For each and every variable you create, that changes. All right. So let's see and understand today, like how to create a local variable and how to create a global variable. How can we use them? Okay. So and what exactly can be done, right? So we can do this using this one. Okay. So first, local variables. Okay, local variables, then global variables, and then scope of the variables. We will be discussing about all these three things in our session today, right? So, like the name itself suggests, right? Local variables. Okay, so it means that the variables are local. Okay, that to that particular area wherever they belong to. Okay, and global by the name itself again, it's self-explanatory where you can understand that so globally it is available. Okay, globally that particular variable is available. Okay, here what is local and what is global, we'll check that, right? And scope of the variable. So what do I mean by scope is, so scope basically means that I hope you might be playing PUBG, Free Fire and all, and that also you have scope, right? Scope means the visibility or the accessibility of a particular thing, correct? Or how far, at till what range is it available, right? So that all of this comes under the scope of a variable. Okay, so a variable is like we know it is like a storage container, right? Variable is like a container which can hold and store a value in it. Okay, hold or store a value in it. Okay, right. And then so now variable can actually store only one single value in it, right? So and yes, of course variable value can be changed. Variable value can be varied, right? Can be changed. Like it is distinct, okay? And you can absolutely change the value anytime, right? Now, now coming to the global variable first, right? So like I told you, the name itself suggests global variables are available throughout your program, okay? Throughout your program, like you can use them wherever you want in your program, right? The limit or the scope of these global variables is for the entire program. Okay, now let me just create that, right? Where, and then if I say I'll be creating age 25. Okay, so here we have declared the variable using var, right? And we have initialized the value with 25. Okay, this complete thing became, sorry, this complete thing became variable declaration along with the assignment, right? That means what exactly is happening over here? So you have declared this here, let's suppose I'm creating a function here. Okay. So in my function also, I will be able to use this age, correct? So let me show you. So I'm just creating a function here, right? I will name it as sample. Then we know we have to open parenthesis. Then we have to like open the curly braces, and within the curly braces we will be writing the code, correct? So I'm just using console.log here, right? And I will write age. Okay. So let's check if this function works or not, right? So function doesn't really work only with the definition, right? We definitely have to call this function. We should never forget calling the function, because if you're not calling this function, how will this function work? Obviously, right? So that's why I'm just calling it over here. Okay. Now let's check if this age is getting printed on the console or not. So I'm just clicking on run. You can see 25 is coming, right? So this is how global variables work, right? In your complete program, so you will be declaring the global variable on top of the program. Okay. So that becomes a global variable, and you can use these variables wherever you want in your complete program, right? So even if you have 1,000 lines of code, even if you have 2,000 lines of code, 10,000 lines of code, that's not the issue and that's not the matter at all. Okay. If you're declaring the variable above the program, right? So that the scope of that variable becomes global. Okay. It has a global scope now. That means it's available anywhere and everywhere in your program, right? So that's why we call these type of variables as global variables. Okay. So you can use these type of variables anywhere wherever you want in your program. Okay. You can access them, you can change the values also. I will just show you. So I'll just write age equals to, I'm reassigning the value now. So I'm reassigning the value with 30. Let's check, reset and run. You can see now the value which is reassigned is coming as the age, right? That means it is allowing you to change. You can actually vary the value, right? So this is how it is. That means it is easily accessible and it is easily changeable also. Okay. So you just have to understand here that global variables can be used anywhere, first thing. And global variables can be changed, right? The values can be changed. And yes, it is available throughout the program. The scope of it is throughout the program. Okay. The availability or the scope is like for the entire program, you can actually use it. Okay. So this is about global variable, right? Now coming to local variables. Local variables are nothing new. Okay. So they are also variables again, right? But the thing is, you can only use a local variable within that block wherever you're declaring it, right? So let's suppose I'm creating another function, naming it as sample1. Okay. So inside this, now I'll just create a variable called as name. Okay. So let's write folks. Sorry, folks. Now, so now let's say console.log, and I will just write name. After this, we also have to call this function, right? So I'm just calling this function over here, right? Now let's check. It has to give this output now. Okay, let's reset and run. You can see folks is coming as the output, right? That means it is available within the function. Okay, I hope you understood this. I'm declaring it over here inside the function, right? And then it is actually used inside the function itself, and it is available. You are getting the output, correct? Now what I will do, after this line, I'll just write console.log. Okay. And inside this, I will write name. Now let's check what happens. Okay. So reset and run. What can you see over here? There is something which is shown in red color, right? So if this is meant to be a variable, make sure you declare a variable var name, right? So can you see it is suggesting you that If you mean that this name is a variable, then you have to declare that variable first. Only then you can use it. It is actually giving you this thing. I already have declared the variable name, right? But still I'm not able to use it, right? So this is because I have declared this variable inside this function. Okay. So inside a function, if you're declaring a variable, the scope of that variable is limited to that function only. Okay. That means the scope of that variable will be only within this block, within these curly braces, right? So outside this block, the name variable has no significance and no existence at all. Okay. It is not known by the computer right after that block. Okay, so that's how it is. This is local variable, right? This is the local declaration of the variable, and locally you're using it. That's it. Outside this function, it doesn't become local now, right? Because it is not there. The scope itself is not there. Only it is available till the block. Okay, this is one of the local declaration. Even in our for loops we use variables, right? So that for loop variable is also, it's like a local scope only. Okay, you can't use that I variable wherever you want. Let's suppose I'm creating a for loop now. For, we already know, we'll just create where I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. I'm just writing it. Let's write console.log I. Okay. So this is a for loop now, right? What I will do, I will just copy this thing. Now, first I'll reset and run this to show you that yes, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 is the output, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it is giving the output now, right now, because I is available inside this block. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll just print the I after the for loop. Let's see what happens. So can you see? It is actually giving the 5. But yes, we are in the same block, right? Correct. So let me do this thing. I will do this. I'll write this function sample2. Let's let's do it. Okay. Now let's call this sample also. Sample2 should be called, right? Without the calling thing, this function will not work again. Okay. What? Okay, it is already showing you the warning that I hasn't been declared yet. If you run it, then also it will show the same thing. Okay, so if this is meant to be a variable, then you have to make sure that you have to declare var I. So you can see that the limit of this particular I variable is within that block only, right? Outside this block, this has no significance at all. Okay, so even if in this conditional statements you use any variable inside the conditional statement, so that also limits itself for that particular block only, and outside the block that has no validity and that has no existence, right? So this is how local variables work, right? They work locally only, not throughout the program they work. Okay, global variables, actually you can use them anywhere in your program or in the project, right? And local variables are only limited, and these work only within the blocks, respective blocks, right? Okay. Now that we understood what are local variables and global variables and scope, correct? I hope you got everything. Scope is nothing but the validity of where, till where your local variable works. That will be the scope of that local variable. And so, to what extent you can use your global variable is the scope of global variable. So, we understood that global variables can be used anywhere in our program, right? And local variables are limited to the blocks where they are declared, right? So, if you can see this thing again, if I say this, okay, then I'll just put a plus and I'll write latest, okay, for just for you to understand that this what is happening. Okay, let's run it. you can see 5 latest is coming, right? Because the latest value of I is 5, because once I became 5 and this loop stopped itself, okay, stopped executing itself, right? So it is the last value now. Okay, 5 is the last value of I, and after that it cannot execute this, and it stopped iterating the loop, right? And you can see within the block it is absolutely working fine. I is recognized and it is working, right? But yes, outside the loop it was not working. Outside the loop, I mean to say outside the block, basically. Okay, so this is how it is, and I hope you we understood about local variables, global variables, and scope of these variables. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding anything, you can absolutely ask me in the comment section below. Okay, and yes, so until so this was all for today's video, right? Until my next video, you know what you have to do. You just have to see all my videos in a sequence for a better understanding of what exactly we are going through in the session, right? What exactly I'm teaching you, and how you can go about learning this coding, right? So if you have any questions, yes, absolutely, you can get back. And then, so yeah, I hope you should be creating multiple projects on CodeStudio, right? So do share all those projects with me so that I'll get to know that you're doing something using Code Studio, right? And if necessary, I will definitely give you the feedbacks on all those comments which you're and the links which you're sending to me, right? So yes, then let's meet in our next session. Okay. Until then, keep watching Folks Hub, and yeah, bye bye. Have a great day, all. Thank you so much for watching this video.